Okay, welcome everybody. It's 9 a.m. Eastern Time, Tuesday, August 27th. And yeah, welcome to Mattsby's Morning. So today we're looking at maybe some more retracements, right? And I believe yesterday I was telling you that possibly that's going to happen because a lot of things yesterday were approaching that resistance level, which only makes sense for things to want to go back and retest support levels. So that's what we're looking at today on the daily chart. That's what the QQQ is looking at today. You can see that this is my QQQ daily chart here. And that is right now going towards a support level, right? It's going down here towards support. And I think that support kind of sits around maybe 470 or even a little bit below, right? We'll go to the weekly chart in a second to show you that, but the daily chart is showing maybe things can hold around 470. And I believe I did mention that yesterday when prices were basically around here, right? Around 480. So that is probably the minimum target, but the maximum target, I think, for the QQQ could actually be in the zone of the 463 down to the 458, right? Could be just a breakout back test in this zone, right? So maybe that 470 will hold, maybe it won't. We don't really know on the daily chart, but at least we know this is starting to look more and more bullish on the weekly time frame because levels are back above support, and I like that. Things are great, right? Also, even if we did do like just a little mini retrace here from here to here, you can see that there also still is some support here at the 618, the 472, kind of like where price is maybe heading to towards today, right? So we might not break to these lower levels this week, but just want to let you know that there is a lot of confluence here on the daily chart. Daily chart with this 618 and with the bottom of the cloud there at 470. So a lot of confluence that 472 and 470 could hold for today or tomorrow or even for the rest of the week, right? But that doesn't mean next week could have the potential to go down, right? Because even the cloud goes down further to that 463 level and so on and so forth. So just want to give you guys a heads up that things are looking good longer term, but this short term thing might be a little bit of a pullback, right? For the Qs, for the SPY, for a lot of things. So just be patient. Yeah, good morning, Jules. Good morning, Ivan. Good morning. Good morning. So, am I bullish for this week? Not really, right? Not really bullish this week. So, just got to let things cool down, right? And SPY, that's still pretty extended from the top, right? And I still think it has a ways to fall, right? I still think it's possible, even on the daily chart, to just come back down to the 540 or sorry, 554 level or so, maybe even a little bit below, right? And it could just start trending down over the next week as well, right? To maybe find a new bottom as well. So this is still looking like just a breakout above support, then finding a back test somewhere of that support. And I don't think it's ready to break this all-time high yet because it's just not really how markets work. Like a V bottom directly and keeps going up and up. No, it usually stops at some resistance, which it found yesterday, and it's looking like it's finding that today. Yeah, my levels for today is probably for the SPY from 470, or sorry, for the QQQ. Like we just talked about that. Yeah, so my level today is like 472 down to maybe 474 today. I can see that hitting. And for SPY for today, I mean, I could see things probably maybe stay around this zone, like the 556 zone, just simply because when you look to the left of the chart, you can see that there's some candles here, some here, some here, right? So that could be trying to find a new base there. And if that doesn't hold, then it'll go lower. But yeah, I think it's at 558. It could go down to 556. We'll see. And if that breaks, then it'll continue to go. But it's not long-term bearish. It's only short-term bearish for the SPY. Okay, Anna, how about NVIDIA? Well, NVIDIA, they report earnings, what, tomorrow, right? And yeah, that one's down 151 pre-market, and you can see it's still getting rejected by the cloud. And daily chart is telling the picture that it's going to open right here. This is going to be the new day, right? And that means the top of the cloud is going to be resistance 127. And first level of support could be that 122.67 right there. And I think that could be probably where it's looking to find a base maybe today. So I think that could be the low in the 122s for NVIDIA. And if that breaks, then it can go back down lower to test lower levels again. But I think it should hold that 122 level. And let's look at Palantir, since Palantir has been trending lower like I expected, right? First things first, linear scale daily chart. It's been following everything perfectly, right? It got up here, got rejected by my blue level perfectly, which I told you guys about last week. That was probably going to be the top, and sure enough, price is going down. It even opened a new candle below that conversion line. So price wants to go down, right? This is what prices want to do. They like to break out, find a resistance, and then now they're going to try to find a support. And it's not there yet, right? It's not there yet at all. And the first level that you can even consider it being support is $30 exactly, right? So it's almost there pre-market, 30.31. But that's the first level. But it could even go down more, down to back to that linear angle down there at like 29.73. But what I think could be something that's possible is even a little bit lower than that, right? I think going back and retesting this previous level right here before things really broke out, right? Like all this consolidation here that used to be resistance, I can see that being a really good possibility for a breakout and a back test. And that's in the 28s, right? That's in the 28s down there. So I think there's no rush to buy Palantir right now because it's in a daily downtrend. And if it's in a daily downtrend, just give it time. Give it for maybe the end of the week or even early next week, right? And by that time, it'll probably find a base or so, and then wherever that might be, then it'll be able to work its way higher. So, and going back here, let me just delete that. Yeah, going back here on my log scale chart, it was very obvious, very, very obvious what was going to happen because this last weekly candle could not break that angle. And if it can't break it, it's going to probably head lower. And that's exactly what it's doing. So this is the most likely situation to get down into the low 30s, high 29s, maybe even the 28s, right? So my target is kind of like the 28 zone, just because I believe that it wants to break or retest levels before it continues higher. So that's what I'm seeing. Yeah, only 28 something for Palantir. Yeah, so I mean, you think that's really scary, but look at what it had from this bottom candle. It just skyrocketed 20% in a week, right? So it's really nothing in the grand scheme of things. It's just what markets do. They break out and they backtest levels, and then they continue higher. They do this over and over again, and you can start seeing a form on the daily chart, right? The daily chart, you can see a rounding topping formation there, and now it wants to go lower, right? So you can't fight it. Sorry. Got to drink some water here. So yeah, you can't fight it. You just got to let it happen, right? Got to let it happen. So that's my targets. Let's see if it gets down to the 28s, but possibly it'll stay in the 29s. We'll see. We'll see. All right, let's go look at Tesla. I know everybody's looking at Tesla. So I mentioned this yesterday, the 236 zone, 213, and this is solely based off of fib extension. Yeah, like a trend-based fib extension. And essentially what that is 213 around that level. And you can see right now it's at 212.39. But I'm really looking at weekly closes. So if you look at a weekly chart here, it still looks perfectly fine, right? Last week it wicked through it as well. This week it could be a wick below it as well. But I think essentially what's happening with this 213 zone is that it kind of looks like it really wants to hold in a weekly candle close. But that doesn't mean today it won't go back down to like 212, 210, 211, whatever, because it could, right? It definitely could. And the reason why I say that is, let me go to my linear scale chart here. And let me just delete that. And we'll just go to the most recent up here and down. And the reason why I think it's getting rejected mainly is because when you do this kind of retracement right here, you can see that it's been failing to really close consecutively above this 216 level right there. So, and that's the case. And you also look at the daily chart as well. It's just sandwiched in between like the bottom of the cloud and the conversion line down there. So that is at 213.49. So it's just like more proof. It's just like battling a lot of like resistance up above here right now. A lot of resistance starting at 216 and then 218 and then even the 219 at the bottom of the cloud. So I like to see this 213 hold because there's a lot of confluence on the weekly chart and the daily chart that 213 is a good indicator. Also, there's a lot of confluence on the monthly chart right there. Look at that. The monthly chart is the bottom of the cloud for the 213, right? So it's so much confluence of that 213 zone. So that's why I think on a week to week close, I think it might close above it. But on a day-to-day basis, it can do whatever it wants, right? So this 213, I've been talking about this 213 for a long time too, actually. And I think that's the biggest reason why I think it's going to hold, because right there on the monthly chart, it's 213 is the support. Right here on the daily chart, 213.49 is support, right? And then we go back on this trend-based fib right here, 213 is support. So many different things are showing that 213 wants to hold. So I'm just repeating myself now. So that's why I like 213. I think anything below 213 is good. All the way down to 208. I think 208 is a possibility as well. So don't get me wrong, just got to be patient. But this is still looking great for a breakout and just a back test zone, right? So don't get scared. Oh, you want lower than 28 to buy some Palantir. Oh, yes. Greedy, greedy. Yes. We all want lower, right? We'll see if lower comes. I think that would be good for me too. But who knows if Palantir is going to get lower. And may I request to have a look at NU? Yeah, we can look at NU. NU. Yeah, it's had quite the run on the daily chart there. Look at that. And it's looking like pre-market's a little bit weak. So that yesterday close could just be one of those topping kind of candles. But let's go to a weekly chart to really see what's going on. Yeah, it built up a lot of steam, and you got the conversion and baseline right there together at the exact same price. So that is a bullish formation. Monthly chart, it already wicked through support. So, I mean, yeah, this thing looks really good. It looks really, really, really good. Like, I think what we can see is on a month-to-month basis, it could be possible to come back and retest the previous high back here, maybe around like $12. So I think that that's something to look out for in the future. But now it's just has a lot of momentum. Just remember that prices always like to go back and retest levels. So we'll see where it stops. But basically, it's going to start with the daily chart. If this starts losing momentum and getting like closer and closer to the conversion line, then that could be a sign that it wants to break and test the cloud there into that $12 range. So just got to keep that in mind for NU. QuantumScape. QS. Yeah, you put QSI, is it? No, it's just QS, yeah. So QS here, on the daily chart, it's actually starting to have a nice uptrend a little bit from the bottom. You can see even back here from June of 2024, it's still making a higher lows from here. So that's also a good positive thing. And now it's looking like it kind of wants to continue trending up as long as it maintains this 590 support. And if that's the case, then price could go up to the 685. But when we look at the weekly chart, you can still see it's really stuck under a lot of resistance still. So is it going to skyrocket anytime soon? Probably not. But is it going to trend its way higher? Yeah, that's a real good possibility. And I think it has the potential to get at least maybe to the high sixes or sevens up here to see if it can break in the future. But it just needs to maintain support and keep making some lower or higher lows. And if that's the case, I think it can get to the sevens, but I don't think it has the energy to get much beyond that currently. And let's see, 475 for Lucid LCID. Yeah, doing exactly what I thought it's going to start to do, right? Because it got back into the cloud last week, right? Did talk about that yesterday, and right now it looks like it wants to continue, right? It's a little bit lower pre-market, but still I think it has the potential to go up to the 475 zone right up here that we talked about, and even the top of the cloud into the fives, right? So I think the uptrend is starting, but just has to make sure it stays in the cloud. If it stays in the cloud, then yes, the momentum will still continue to the upside. But if there's any kind of weekly candle that closes below it, it'll be more challenging to get to those levels. So that's what you got to pay attention to with Lucid here. Let's see. Lucid 479. Can you check on Exxon Mobil? Yeah, it's a bullish chart, weekly chart. But it also looks like it's just stuck too at the same time. You can just see that it tried to break out, but then it couldn't. And now it's just, if you look to the left and if you just look to the left and take off everything, this is just telling me a story right here. Like, look at that. It's just stuck. Stuck. It's all this resistance right here. Resistance. And it's still kind of under that resistance. So do I like it? I think it's bullish, yes. But do I think it's going to break out? Well, it depends, right? If it starts closing above 119, then I think I can get more bullish on it on weekly candle closes, not just daily candle closes. So just got to be patient with this one. But I think there's really no rush because in my eyes, it's at resistance right now. It's at resistance. So I think it can go either way. And I think the trend is that maybe it's not going to break through because so many times it's had the chance and it really can't. So that's what I'm thinking right there. Let's see, PayPal going back to retest some numbers there. What, 68? Yeah, we can look at PayPal here. Yeah, it's just doing exactly what I expected as well, right? It's got rejected by that black line that I drew last week, right? You can see it was a major support zone. Now it's resistance, right? So I never get excited at resistance. I get cautious. And that resistance still can be all the way up to the $76 zone or so because this candle up here goes all the way up to the $76 zone. So we got to be aware of that. But essentially, it's in the resistance zone. And do I like it? Yes, I think it's really bullish. But I expect it kind of like Palantir to maybe come back and retest levels. And you can see how extended it is from the bottom of the cloud there at 64. But I don't really expect it to go 64 right away. I do expect it to go down to the 68s right there. And I think that should hold for some support on the daily chart for some time. Now, if that ever breaks, then there's a possibility to go lower. But until that happens, we'll have to reassess. But currently, I think it's at a top, and I think it wants to go below 70 again. And I think in the 68s would be a probable target for PayPal. Let's see. HPS.A. The income fund or the power solutions? Are you talking about this .A? The Hammond Power Solutions Inc. I think is a Canadian from Canada. Well, there's this one, the income fund, but that one's basically at resistance, so who cares? HPS.A. Yeah, okay. We'll just look at this one. Hammond Power Solutions. Yeah, it's at support, but it's also at some resistance too of 11 or 114, right? So, but it's a good sign, right? It's a good sign of what's happening that it's breaking above the cloud. So I think as long as it maintains above that cloud, then there's a possibility to continue higher. And should be a good solid support zone. And the weekly chart, yeah, more solid support around the 110. So it looks good for a possible continuation higher. And on the TSX. Sorry. Yeah, I think I did that one. Yeah, TSX. Or did I not? Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah. Okay. What are your thoughts on OOS? OOS. I'm not sure. Is it this one? The Spin Maker ETF? Oh, OSS. Okay. One stop. Weekly chart, I think, says it all. It's stuck under resistance for a long time. Ever since up here, it's just been trending down, 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 down. It looks like it's trying to find a base down here with all of these candles in this demand zone. So it could be in a demand zone, but it also has resistance above. So could go lower or it could break through. But I need confirmation for myself to ever want to get excited about anything. And as long as it keeps closing weekly candles underneath this simple conversion line there, 219, then I can't really get bullish on it because that means it keeps getting rejected. And things that keep getting rejected possibly want to continue going lower. So the first step, it has to close candles, a weekly candle above that for me to have any kind of interest. But otherwise, nope. Good morning, SMH. Yeah, let's look at SMH here. We got 7 minutes to the market open. And right now it's down 240.60 for the market, pre-market. And if you look right here, you can see that 240.76 is the baseline, and it's kind of at a support zone right now, pre-market. So we'll see if that holds. But again, this is a weekly candle, so it is free to go down here during the week, however far it wants to go, and then possibly close candles back above all of this by Friday, right? It's clear to do whatever it's going to do. So it doesn't really matter what it does during the midweek, but it matters where it closes on Friday. But on the daily chart, you can see it's also battling a resistance again because it looks like pre-market is going to open below this indicator, which means 242 is going to be some daily resistance for the Van Eck Semiconductor ETF. So where does that leave price? Well, that means price could even come back down to the 230 zone, right? 229, 230. And if that happens, then that would be a good opportunity, I think, to accumulate for price to go higher. So lots of things can happen with this during the week, but I kind of want to see it close above at least the baseline above 240. So we'll see if it gets down to the 230 this week before that, but maybe not. We'll see. But I think the possibility to get there is there simply because it's finally opening a candle below this blue line. And if that's the case, then price will probably want to gravitate a little bit lower throughout the week. And ITB, iShares US Home Construction ETF. Yeah, this one bullish, right? For the daily chart, it's looking like it's back testing already a previous high right there. And that is a good sign. So that could hold as some kind of support right around 121 or so. Weekly chart. Yeah, it's pretty extended. But you also got the baseline and conversion line at the 110.74 at the exact same price. So that's pretty exciting right there. That means price will probably want to continue higher. And essentially, I think what is even possible is coming back to this level here, just retesting this previous level before breakout, right? Right there. So worst case scenario, maybe going back to these levels right here around 116. But currently, I think it's still trying to hold these levels here. But it's a very bullish chart for the long term. Even if it does go down to 116, still very bullish. OOMA, OOMA. OOMA. Yeah, weekly chart. It's starting to try to find a new higher low. I think that could be it right here, a higher low from here. So it's breaking out, finding a new support, and trying to build its way higher. So I think it's on its way to its first resistance level at 921 and has the opportunity to break above then towards the top of the cloud or the bottom of the cloud around 1040. So I think that could be the shorter term target because it looks like it wants to hold these levels as support. So it's looking better and better for that. But still, you can see that ever since, ever since here, January of 2022, it's been in a downtrend. So it's still technically in a downtrend because it has not made a higher high yet, right? But once it starts getting into the cloud, then there's the opportunity to eventually break above it and go on. But still, it's still in a high time frame bearish chart market structure. So we need to be aware of that. Is there a possibility to go to the $10? Yes, there is, but I don't really see much more than that. Okay, well, let's see. The market's going to open in 2 minutes, right? 2 minutes. Let's look at SMCI here. Yeah, pre-market, it's not looking so good for SMCI. Yeah, it's bringing back my old levels here for SMCI. And you can see right here, I was talking about that. Wait 1 second. Where is SMCI? And you can see I was before talking about that blue angle so many times, and now it's going to go below it again. But the good news is the week is not over yet still, right? That is the good news. And also, it's just going back to where these candles were, right? The 2 weeks before, or these weeks here, early August, right? Early August and the second week of August. Right here, you can see that it was really good support. So is that going to hold? I mean, it better hold, right? If it starts to make lower lows, then this angle that I talked about before, this orange angle, will be the target. So these candles must hold as support now, and I want to still see a weekly candle close back above that 550 level. So price can do whatever it wants throughout the week, but I think as long as it closes back above that blue level, that blue angle, then it's fine. But you can see it's not looking so pretty pre-market, down 7% right now, but still back to some levels where it was weeks ago. So it's not too concerning yet, but it could lead to that if those levels start to break. Let's see. iShares IWM. IWM. So IWM here on my linear scale chart, it's a very, the market just opened actually. So there we go. You can see that this week opened really at resistance, right? The resistance of that Fibonacci extension level, the 3.618, the 221. It opened right on it. So that means is price going to break through those levels, my green arc and that 3.618? Probably not, right? Just got to give it time to try to build a base before it explodes higher. So yeah, daily chart. I think the target is probably coming back down to maybe the 216 zone around here and trying to build a base around that zone and then to continue higher. So probably a few more days of just consolidating or whatnot, but no rush for the IWM, I think. I think it just wants to drift lower before it finds a higher low. All right, let's look at the markets. Yeah, you got ARKK is at 45.51. ARKG is holding okay. Palantir kind of recovered a little bit, but we'll go back to that chart. I think any kind of chance it goes up, it's going to get rejected and continue to roll over. So don't get excited about Palantir price going green if it does go green today, right? So I think the trend is the short-term trend is now to the downside. And Enphase up 30 cents. Let's see. Tesla is green today. You can see that 213 zone I talked about for Tesla. Really, really good, right? But it did open a new candle, daily candle below that conversion line. So that's going to be added more resistance up there in the 216 zone, right? You can see that 382, 216. You can see the conversion line 216.52. So now you got a tight range for Tesla, right? You got a tight range between the 213, 212, 211, all the way up to the 216 zone. So I don't expect this week to be too exciting. But maybe later on, like Thursday, Friday, it could have a potential to break back into the cloud. So we'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, whatever positive price action today, I think it has the opportunity to get up to 216-ish, but I don't know if it has more room to go than that. Let's see here. Let's look at some of the miners. Yeah, miners, they're a little bit red. Yeah, no surprise there. And yeah, there's really no surprises at all. Like things are just doing what they're doing. Oh, let's look at Coinbase. I think I wanted to check that out. Yeah, so Coinbase started opening a new candle below its conversion line too. So I think what's possible actually is perhaps going back down to this 180 level, right? To that 382 Fibonacci, because lots of resistance above, right? Lots of resistance above still up here. And even more so when you look on the daily chart, it's starting to form more resistance here, right? It was basically holding this as a support until today, right? I mean, maybe today it could close back above, but essentially, I think the trend is still maybe going to be a little bit lower. We'll see where it stops. But the possibility to get back to this 183 is now there, right? It is available. It is possible. And if that ever happened again, I think that is a fantastic opportunity because I'm very, very long-term bullish on Coinbase. SMCI accounting manipulation is there apparently. Their news, yeah, who cares, right? That's always going to be some news. But all I care about is for SMCI is holding these levels. That's all I care about. And getting them back above that 550 level as well. That's important, right? So as far as everything today, I think it's just doing what it should be doing. I think the short-term trend for the week is going to be down for mostly everything, right? There will be some opportunities like you see Tesla is green. Like I said, 216, maybe 217 could be that resistance level for today. So we'll keep an eye on that, but I don't really expect things to really just skyrocket this week at all. It's just going to be a consolidating week. So just got to have some patience and you got to look for some of those opportunities. And if they get to those lower levels that I mentioned, I think that's a great, great, great chance to start to make some money. But yeah, just let things come down. Let price come to you and do not chase price. And I will not be doing a live stream tomorrow. I got some things to do in the morning, but I will see you guys on Thursday.